What's going on, guys, and welcome to another paranormal story. So it's been a couple of months since the last one. A lot of you really seem to enjoy it. Thank you all so much for the support with those. It is really appreciated. If you want to continue that support, you know what to do. Like, share, comment, all that malarkey. I'll be doing the fan comment section at the end of this one as well, talking about some of the stories you guys have sent in. But yeah, a lot of you also pointed out that the story I told last time you'd seen before on a show called Paranormal Witness, and that is indeed where I heard the story. This one is also from that show. They have some really good, interesting stories. You might want to check the show out if you can. But this one is about alien abductions, and it's actually a really famous case, I think. It's about a guy called Travis, and I think around 6 of his friends that he works with. And basically these guys are loggers, I think. I think that's the right terminology anyway. But yeah, it's sort of, they go into like wooded areas. They're contracted to come in and clear out the wooded areas, chop down all the trees and all that malarkey. I don't think that's a tree surgeon, right? My friend's a tree surgeon. They go in and like cut down stuff that could be dangerous, but I'm talking like big wooded areas, right? So that's what they do for a living. And all of these guys are friends except for 2 of these guys. Our good boy Travis and this other guy. And this doesn't really matter right now, but it's something to bear in mind for a little later in the story. But one day, this guy's cutting down a tree and it falls right next to Travis. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to cutting down trees. I don't know if any of you are. But you're supposed to take, I know you are supposed to take precautions that the trees fall, so the trees fall in the right place and you don't hurt anyone. I'm pretty sure they do stuff like that. So it was more than likely intentional. He was intentionally trying to hurt him, sort of thing. As I said, these guys didn't really like each other too much. But that's irrelevant for now. But just try to remember that. So these guys, they're all finishing up on their day's work, and they're getting ready to go home and leave, and they all sort of get into this guy's truck and they're driving through these big wooded areas to get out of this place and go home. And in the distance they see this massive light, and they don't know what it is. They can't explain what it is. They know it's nothing, you know, that really should be there. So they decide to go over and have a look and try and figure out what it is. And so they move towards it, and they still have no idea at all what it is. It's like pretty bright, blinding light. And as they get really close to it, they can see that it's some sort of fucking UFO type craft. Or at least they say it is. I just want to say as well before I continue that obviously make up your own minds. This is a story I've heard. I'm just telling it as I've heard it. I think it's a pretty cool story. But just let me know what you think. Anyway, so yeah, they get over to this thing and they're all looking at it confused as to what it is. And Travis, our guy, he's kind of known for being like a really brave guy, and he's not really worried about anything, doesn't really let much bother him. And he gets out of the truck and starts walking towards it to get a better look and see what exactly is going on. And all of his friends are freaking out because they're sure that they really shouldn't be seeing this, whatever it is. So they're telling him to come back, and they're saying, come on, you know, we need to get out of here, this is messed up, whatever. Get back, we've got to go. And he doesn't listen and keeps like moving towards this thing, and all of a sudden, wham, this massive fucking ball of lightning flies out of this ship and hits Travis. And they say, at least, that he got sent sort of like flying in the air. And these guys pretty much bricked it and bugged out. They all sort of left their friend for dead, pretty much. They were terrified, and they're sort of driving away, and the driver starts to sort of feel really guilty. His guilt starts to get the better of him for leaving Travis behind. And all of his friends are still freaking out, saying, don't stop, you know, you can't stop. And he stops, pulls over, starts thinking, and he's thinking along the lines of, what if that was me, you know, how would you feel if your friends just left you behind, sort of thing. So he decides to go back, and he's the only driver, so no, you know, the other guys can't do anything about it. And he sort of says, well, I'm going back, you can wait here for me to come back and get you, or you can come with me. And not one of them stayed. Everyone went. They all wanted to go stay together, sort of thing. So they went back to where they thought at least he was. Searched the area completely, couldn't find him, had no idea where he was. That they're panicking at this point because he's missing, and they're going to have to report it to the police. And obviously, if you're going to the police with something about a missing person, it's very serious, and their reasoning behind it is going to be that a UFO hit him with a ball of lightning and now he's missing. You know, that's like, doesn't add up, especially to the police. You know, the police are the kind of guys that don't listen to that kind of crap, and they're just going to think that they murdered him or they've done something to him. So they're sort of debating what to do about it, and eventually they decide they need to report him missing. So they call the police, report him missing. I think they didn't tell him. They didn't tell them that about the UFO part, just that he was missing at that point. And the police, get around to coming to interview them. I'm pretty sure when you report a missing person, they have to be missing for like 48 hours, isn't it, to for the police to take notice. I'm not sure whether the police came straight away or whatever. I don't know how they sort of portrayed it in that way. But anyway, when the police did get to them, they explained it and told them about the UFO and stuff. And obviously, the police are skeptical. They don't think they're telling the truth. And these guys are worried because, you know, if they can't find him, then they're going to look guilty, and someone obviously has to have something to do. The police are just going to see those guys as the ones that have done it, and tried to hide it up, cover it up with a stupid story or something. And you know, a few days pass. They get interviewed by the police and stuff like that, and they all give their statements, and you know, they all stick to the story, the UFO story. And the police are still trying to get to the bottom of it. They can't find him. They search the area. They launch a manhunt in the area where they say he was, and they don't find him. They can't find him anywhere. So the police at this point are getting pretty convinced that these guys have done it. The whole town pretty much pegs them as murderers, and I think the town they live in is kind of like a quiet type church-going town. And you know, if you're not like that, you're seen as, you know, what's the right word? I don't know. Well, just, you know, bad people. You know, they're going to peg that on you in a second, sort of thing. So, as I said, they're all increasingly getting worried because someone's going to get blamed for this thing. And then one day the sheriff, I think it's like 4 days after he's missing or something like that, sheriff comes to them and asks if they're going to stick with their story. And then they're all saying, yeah, you know, that's what happened. And he asks them if they would mind doing a lie detector test, all of the guys involved, you know. And they agree to it, but they're all worried that somehow they're going to get stitched up. You know, the police are just going to make it look like they've done it and just lie about the results, even if they are telling the truth, sort of thing. And so they're scared, you know, that they, like I said, they're just worried about that. So, but they all, you know, reluctantly go along to do this lie detector test, and you know, their lawyers and family or whatever are also telling them the same thing: just be careful you don't get stitched up, sort of thing, because that looks like what's going to happen. And then they meet I think it's the polygraph test, right? That's what it's called, I think. But they meet this guy who's you know, going to administer the tests and, you know, see if they're lying about this stuff. And he starts talking to them about the way it's going to go down, and he gives them some sample questions, sort of like similar to what he's going to ask them. And a couple of the guys start to get kind of freaked out because the questions aren't really relating to their story, it's relating to the police's stories, and like they're being asked stuff about if they've murdered this guy, like, you know, have you intentionally harmed this guy and stuff like that. And so they're worried about that because they feel like they shouldn't be suspects in the murder, but obviously they're going to be. So, you know, there's a bit of tension there and what's going on. But eventually the time comes to do this test, and they all still go ahead with the test. And the guy who is doing the test, administering them, is, I think he's the best. I'm pretty sure it was Arizona this happened in. But, yeah, the best in the area, you know. He knows his stuff. The man knows his way around a lie detector test, you know what I mean? So, you know, there's no way that the tests are going to be inconclusive. You know, they're going to get to the bottom of it. So these guys are doing the tests, and they're all separated after they've done the test, so they can't, you know, discuss what happened, or the guys that have done the test can't talk to the guys that haven't, stuff like that. Security measures. And then once they're all done, several hours later, they're all very panicked, you know, they're really on edge to know the results and stuff. And the one guy who I mentioned earlier in the story, if you remember that part of the story I told you, just to put to the back of your mind for a minute, who had a bit of a fight with this guy and you know, cut a tree down and it nearly fell on him and all that stuff. When he was doing his test, they asked him a question if he'd ever intentionally tried to harm or wanted to harm Travis, and he freaked out and he wouldn't answer the questions because obviously he doesn't like him. He's probably, you know, if he had cut that tree down to sort of hurt him intentionally, hoping it would fall on him, you know, then obviously that question's going to buzz out on the lie detector test. But yeah, I think his test in the end was inconclusive, in the sense that they couldn't tell whether he was telling the truth or not. I think that's the way a lie detector worked. I'm not entirely sure. It may have progressed since this story actually happened, or the technology may have advanced. But I think it's like it can either tell whether you're telling the truth or they don't know. You know, it's like if you're telling the truth, that will read out, and if you're lying, basically it's an inconclusive result. I think that's the way they do it. But anyway. Yeah, his was inconclusive. So the guy wanted another professional to look at the results, to, you know, just to sort of see what he made of them or whatever. And these guys catch him leaving the building. He's going home for the day or whatever, and they say to him, all these guys are saying to him, because they're not under arrest at this point, they're still free men, you know, they've got no evidence backing that they have hurt this Travis guy, so they're free men, whatever. And they grab him, you know, stop him and say, you know, what happened, what are the results? And the guy says that he can't tell them because of the guys being inconclusive, and they were saying, well, what about us, you know, what about the guys who won, you know? And he says, as far as I can see, you're all telling the truth. And they're all like relieved, obviously, and like fucking, you know, massive weight off their chest and shoulders, all that stuff. And as he's leaving again, the sheriff sees the guy and says to him, you know, what were the results, what happened? And he's like, they're not lying. This is whatever they say they saw, or they believe it. That's the least I can say. They believe that they saw that, you know, they're not lying about it, sort of thing. And so that makes a pretty convincing story anyway. The fact that on a lie detector test, all these guys are convinced that they did see their friend get hit with a ball of lightning and whatever. Because I think they did actually ask the questions about, did you see a UFO and stuff like that on the night in question. They asked those questions, and they were all telling the truth, which is kind of cool, and like I said, in itself. But the big problem now, even though those guys are sort of in the clear, they've got evidence to show they're not lying. Travis is still missing. They don't know where he is. So, you know, they're still searching for him and stuff, but nobody has any clue where the fuck he is. Just fucking vanished into thin air. But anyway, and I think another day or two passes, and at this point it's been 5 or 6 days since it originally happened. The brother of Travis, I'm not entirely sure whether he was working with them at the time. He might have been, but anyway, you know, he knew what was going on and all that stuff. Travis called his brother, and when he miraculously from a phone box just appears and calls his brother, and his brother's sort of in shock, you know, he's like, and Travis is saying, they brought me back, I'm back, you know, and he doesn't know what to make of it. So his brother drives out to where he is at this phone box in some gas station somewhere, and he goes there, and Travis is there looking like hell, you know, obviously in some state of shock and shaken up and stuff, but he's in one piece and he seems fine. And he wants to get him to a doctor right away to check him out and all that stuff. They take him to the doctor, and the doctor says he's fine. The only thing that was possibly wrong with him was like an injection site in his arm, midway up his arm, and it was as if he had been through some kind of trauma. You know, he was very shaken up and disorientated, almost like in a daze, I think they said. But this was the same day they'd found him, and then they took him back home. By the time they got it home, the sheriff had already heard that he was back somehow, and he rang him straight away, and he was saying, I want to talk to Travis, where's Travis? And they tried to cover for him and say that, you know, he's not ready to talk to anyone, but the sheriff wouldn't give in, and he came to talk to Travis, and he asked Travis what happened. He told him the same thing as the guys told him, you know, they saw this UFO, he got struck by lightning, and then the next thing he remembers is waking up on a highway with this big ball of light blasting away from him, and he got up and ran to the nearest place he knew, because I think he said he knew where he was, but he just ran until he got to this gas station and phoned his brother. It's kind of weird, right? I mean, in itself, you think about it there, there's a lot of convincing evidence to support what they say actually happened, but they wanted to sort of find out more from Travis, because there were gaps in his memory. My phone's going off, sorry about that. There were gaps in his memory where he obviously doesn't remember what happened between when he was hit with the lightning or whatever and to when he woke up on the highway. He doesn't know. So I think he stays with his brother for a while, and he's still really shaken up. He's not feeling himself at all, and his brother's covering for him or something, saying that, you know, he's not here, he's in another place or whatever, and to keep the press and everyone else away from him, just to, you know, let as least stress as possible that they were trying to bring towards him, and just help him out. But I think eventually someone got wind that he was at his brother's with his brother, and they agreed with these guys I think they gave him exclusive rights to the story if they'd fund his treatment, if they'd sort of, you know, help him remember what happened and try and figure out what actually happened, and they were going to try all sorts of different things. The one that he was very responsive to was hypnotherapy. And they had a guy, you know, who was renowned for that, whatever, come in and hypnotize him so he could talk about it in his sleep. And they had I think, some information from him through other methods, but it hadn't been conclusive, like very accurate or anything, or there were still gaps or something. But they got him to do this hypnotherapy stuff, and he obviously, I can't tell you whether it's true or whether his mind just made it up. You have to make your own mind up about that. But yeah, he basically told them under hypnotherapy or whatever, well, under hypnosis I suppose is the correct word, that he woke up in a ship in some random place surrounded by 3 beings. You can't really say they weren't human. Basically, they were about 4 or 5 feet tall, emotionless faces, and he had tried to attack them or something. He tried to fend them back. He fell off this table. He had this big massive thing on his chest that fell off when he fell off this table that he was on. Grabs out some, the biggest thing he could find, like obviously some sort of like surgery or some crap, and he's swinging at them, and they all leave the room, and he's worried that they're going to come back, terrified, and he leaves this room that he's in and ventures around this ship. And I think he told like a short part where he went into this room and he sat in this chair or something, and he was trying to press buttons to open a door. He was trying to like escape basically and get a door to open and get outside, and he was just messing with stuff, and some crazy stuff started happening in the room he was in, like surrounded by stars, and they were moving and stuff. So he fucking, for all we know, he could have been driving a goddamn spaceship, but it could have been just the coolest alien video game ever. Like, come on, who wouldn't want to go on that? But anyway, this guy shows up behind him, some random guy in this, while he's still in this ship, looks very more human and is in a sort of spacesuit. And he tries to approach this guy and talk to him and say, what's going on? Where am I? Help me, whatever. And this guy doesn't say anything, and he's got the crazy eyes, really weird eyes, but he looks human, but again, an emotionless face. And this guy takes him by the arm, not aggressively, but sort of leads him out of the ship. And he recalls, again, I'm not saying this is what happened, this is what they say happened. He leaves the ship and ends up in this massive hangar. And there's loads of other ships in there, the same as the one he's come out of, the same as the one he saw in the forest or whatever. And he ends up in this room with 3 people, looking very human, but again with the emotionless faces, not saying anything to him, don't say a word. And they did something like this. A good few of them pushed him down on this table and put this mask on his face, and that's it. And that's all he can remember. The next thing is him waking up on the highway. And I'm not sure if they ever lie detected him on that, or whether he was telling the truth. But whether you can do a lie detector test while someone's under hypnosis, I have no idea. But the way they say hypnosis works, it's like it is your subconscious mind talking. It's stuff you wouldn't consciously remember. That's sort of the way it works. But it's open to interpretation, isn't it? Like it's one of those where you may think, oh, that's a lot of bullshit, I don't believe any of that. And I could see why you might say that about the hypnosis side of what he said. It does sound very far-fetched, but it also, the guys giving their version with the lie detector test and stuff like that, that's very convincing. It's kind of weird. It makes you think, what if he is telling the truth? It's very, very strange. But he's fine. There's nothing wrong with the guy now. He's totally fine. But I mean, if I had to say it was an alien abduction, I would say what happened was there was some sort of weird defense mechanism activated by him walking up to the ship, and it severely hurt him, and whatever was in the ship, again, I'm saying if this is true, I don't know, but this is just what I think, then whoever's inside it, the aliens, I suppose, inside of it, knew they didn't mean to hurt him. He didn't mean him any harm. He was just curious or whatever. So they took him up, healed him up, and brought him back. I reckon that's what happened. I don't know if it was an alien abduction. I think it's stupid to think that we're the only beings in the universe, because the universe is big and it's always expanding and all that stuff. Or is it? I don't know. There's been new findings and all that shit recently, hasn't there? But anyway, that's the story. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section if you can. Really appreciate that. I'm going to get to some fan comments here. I've got to find the previous video though. Let's do that. I hope you guys are enjoying the gameplay, by the way. It's completely recorded separately, but I think it should be some Left 4 Dead gameplay, Left 4 Dead 2 with some mods in there. I did download some new mods for it. I think Lee and Clementine might make an appearance, and I thought that was a wicked mod to have. I can bring Lee back to life. It just makes me feel great. There we go. Here we are. Here's the video. Let me pause this for it makes very loud noises. Okay, so I'm going to try and read through quite a few of these, and thank you for the comments. I really do appreciate that. A couple of you have been dropping your own stories. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to read them out. You guys can have your own opinions. We won't discuss them too much. I'll just try and get through this. But anyway, so the first one here, let me read through it quickly. Okay, yeah, Christopher Cedarholm. Alright, thanks for the comment, Chris. I think I have a ghost or a spirit following me around, because sometimes I hear someone talking to me and I see a shadow moving around sometimes, but it isn't a bad spirit. I even talk with it sometimes, but I'm pretty sure it likes to prank me a lot, and that's kind of strange. Okay, I've got a load of replies to my first comment. So, a bunch of you just saying thank you. Kyle, Jake, Winter, thank you, Birdie, Liam. I can't, you have some complicated usernames. Usernames on YouTube are weird these days. But anyway, let me read this one here. Oh, here we go. This one is from Preserve America. I think he posted one last time, actually. But again, not judging you. Let's read your story. Really great story. I think that story would make a great movie. I do believe evil exists and can be both seen and unseen. I know a pastor who said he was once at a low point in his life and swears he saw a demon outside his window. That same pastor said he was once driving on a mountainside road and had nearly fallen asleep. While he was driving, he said he felt a hand on his shoulder awaken him. He was the only one in the truck. Had he not been awakened, he would have driven off the side of the mountain. I had left the church where he gave sermons because I was going through a period of doubt about the existence of God and Jesus, etc. And we met up to discuss what I was going through, and he included these as past experiences he had. So I believe there are evil and good forces at work in the world. I kind of believe that too. I don't know. I think no one's ever really asked me on here my stance on religion or stuff like that. At the end of the day, believe what you want to believe. I believe there is no way to know who is telling the truth, and I for one wouldn't want to go through my life believing something only to find out I was wrong or something. I just believe if there is a God and a Jesus and all that stuff, what they would want now is for you to just be a good person. You know, that's the way I see it. Just be decent, and that's all you need to be. Someone saying thank you for reading mine. Someone saying the house that we talked about in one of the comments in the previous video from Soul Maestrom was 107 years old. People asking for more. Jim there asking for more. There is more coming. My friend Rothman's made an appearance again. I read out his comment last time. He was bigging himself up. Man, that Rothman guy sounds pretty hot. And people are saying, do you think that they suspect I'm Rothman? Oh, just a bit. I love your vids. That's from Joshua. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, Rothman is... Shalom is Hebrew. Shalom means hello, goodbye, and peace, basically. Alright, cool. That was what part of the story we were talking about last time. Okay, we've got another one here from Blitzcrest. One night long ago, I thought I had an out-of-body experience, or a night terror. When you mentioned a black mass apparition, or black flames, fear struck me. For that night, I saw a black mist of such a description, and when I walked into it, I awoke in fear. And now that I know others have seen it, it couldn't have been my imagination. Yeah, I think like I've heard a lot about black masses before. I don't know. It's kind of just like I don't know. I don't know what I believe about that sort of stuff. But there's certain things you can see and can't see, and sometimes they overlap. I guess maybe would be the best, the most logical explanation I can give you if there is one. IFreeMz, when would you do facecam horror stuff again? Well, for those of you who have been asking this question, this is a facecam video, obviously. I will be doing more facecam series now. Previously, my old setup, I didn't really have the best capability to do facecam stuff. It was kind of difficult for me to do it. Right now, I can sit in this chair and sit like this, and I could sit here for hours. But if I was doing facecam stuff before, you might see my shoulder now or something. I'd have to sit straight up all the time, just like... so it was just horrible. I didn't really enjoy doing it, but now it's a lot easier. Anyway, someone saying here about the previous video, I would have burned the box. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, so yeah, well, that's a good point. No one ever thought about destroying it, even if they sealed it the second time. Well, how do you know though if you destroyed it? If you haven't watched the previous episode, you might have to go back and watch it. But how do you know though if you destroyed it, the shit wouldn't just keep coming after you for the rest of your freaking life? Or you might just unleash it on someone else. Jennifer there says, love this, keep them coming. They will do. Someone's asking us, I think I've already answered that one. I've answered you. Alright, thank you. Troll Face Productions, being very nice there. And then Sean here is talking about the previous video as well. It's an old, very successful way of trapping negative spirits. I did hear about that. People talking about this previous story again. Here we go. We've got another story here from someone. I mean, there are a lot of comments here. I'll try and get through as many of them as I can. Oh, it's no, that one again is referring to that story, but never mind. Here we go. We've got one here from Terror Gamer. When I was around 6 to 8, I had hardcore nightmares and night terrors. I mean, like I was screaming and kicking in my bed while asleep, and my parents thought I was insane. When I went to go to sleep, I would always see a tall humanoid shadow with white eyes. I didn't sleep for days, and when I started to ignore him and go to sleep... oh, hang on. Is that right? Yeah, well, let's put a full stop there. I had this horrifying nightmare about this shadow dragging me out of bed, torturing me and scaring the shit out of me. The strange thing was, when I woke up, I was always on the floor looking up to a black mist on the ceiling. I flipped shit. I don't sleep in the dark for 5 years, and I sleep under the quilt. That demon was a douchebag. I swear to God, I can tell that a lot of the people on my channel, right, are from different countries, and they speak English and stuff. You guys, right, can speak better English than most English people. That's all I want to say. Some of the English I see from English and Americans as well. No offense to Americans, but yeah, like, you know, obviously the way people type is horrific. Like, I can't stand it sometimes. Like, fair enough here and there, but overly late writing is terrible. God, freaks me out. Anyway. Someone saying here about a time they were with their mum and brother and they saw loads of orbs in a certain place. Oh, that's pretty cool. In Ohio State Reformatory, is that right? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Aaron there, Aaron Joseph. Awesome story, thank you so much. Scott Bolton has one here for me. I think I saw this one yesterday. It says something about having 5 stories and he'll put one on each video. Hey friends, I have 5 stories for you, all reasonably long. I'll put one on each video for you. You do. So, I was in an abandoned mental hospital and there's a bath in the middle of the room. There's no pipes leading into the room and there is no sign of leakage in the room whatsoever, but it is filled up with black water. No one that I know can explain it. Then as we were standing in the room, we hear a scream to the left of us and out in the woods, and a window breaks like cracks, but we run in panic and we go to where we thought it came from. There was only a straitjacket on the floor. Second story will be on the next video. Loving what you were doing with the channel, mate. Good work. Cheers, Scott. Someone there recommended another channel, the Live Sci-Fi channel. Daniel. The few that understand. Good vid. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Yeah, someone there's referencing to the previous story. If it's there in the comment section, link to watch the story. Someone saying thank you for the paranormal stories. Some Mathematics, Shadow Killer, Daryl, Jack Frosty, la la blah blah. Try and read out the names of just people who are saying thank you. Rat Dead says he saw something very similar on the show. Again, that's Paranormal Witness if you want to go watch it. It's hard to tell if anybody will ever find an answer to this type of stuff. Keep spamming dem videos, says Reese. Thank you. Okay, so Zell Patricio, another one here. I had fears of having nightmares after a friend told me he legit had a demon follow him home after he was in the cemetery doing things he shouldn't have been doing. So this demon or whatever would give him nightmares where he would experience a different death over and over again. He said he had to learn how to lucid dream and kill the demon in his dream. So to prevent me from having nightmares, I started sleeping with an open pair of scissors under my pillow, which is said to ward away evil spirits or whatnot. But one night, as I woke up in the middle of the night, I heard a very demonic and wicked laugh, and when I looked under my pillow, the scissors were gone. Totally freaked me the fuck out. Yeah, that would freak me out too. Matthew C there says, always looking forward. Thank you so much. Someone asked him to make this a weekly thing. I will be bringing these a little more often, but yeah, you know, it's difficult at the moment, or it has been recently. It'll be a lot easier from now on. Someone saying there the box is a trigger object from the person who died. So the person who died might get angry. You're looking at a property or something. I don't think that's the way they told it. I mean, that's cool if that's your opinion. But the way they told it was basically a demon that had been sealed away in the box. Great vid, bro, from Sanal. Is that, I can't pronounce your second name, sorry. Bro, according to me, the Native American guy is a genius. I don't get it. Whenever you're in a creepy situation, people just get the fuck out. Just get the fuck out of there. Yashgota. Yeah, just get the fuck out. That's right. Troy saying he saw that episode too. Good episode it was. Okay, so Honor Studios here has left me another one. Maybe like a little mini story for the end of the video. No worries. My brother and I were just to going to sleep one night, and we were messing around with each other, shenanigans and all, while screwing off our toy box. Okay, like a tub with a heavier lid. Okay, that just kind of exploded. You worded that so wrong, bro. The lid flew off and toys went everywhere. I looked at my brother and he looked at me and we got the fuck out of the room. Grandma's room for the win. FreeMz's advice, get the fuck out of there. That's the best advice. Okay, Brittany McManamar says that, hey FreeMz, here's a kind of creepy and maybe a little funny story. When I was 12, my grandpa passed away. Sorry about that. Something he used to do a lot was check his vegetables garden in the evening for critters. It was a couple of months after he had passed that I used to spend the night with my grandma. My mum had dropped me off that evening and was talking with my grandma when I realised I had left something in the car. I went out the front door, got the item from the car and started to head back inside when I thought I heard someone call my name from behind me. I turned and thought I saw my grandpa coming toward the house, so I left the front door open for him. When I went inside, I put down the item, I think a scarf, and my mum said, "You left the door open, shut it or you'll let the cold in." I went to say, "But..." When I turned and looked out the door, no one was out there. I told my grandma the next morning about it, and she said, "Stubborn old fool, still worried about the garden." That's a good one. That's a very creepy one. I have a friend actually, who when he was very young, his grandfather died as well, and he was in his house, his grandfather's house, preparing for the funeral, right? And this kid though, I don't know whether he's telling the truth or not, and he swears by it, to be fair to him, but yeah, he saw his grandfather in the garden waving at him, and he was freaking out because he thought he was never going to see him again or whatever, and he went downstairs and he wasn't there. Similar story anyway. A good story. You're becoming my best YouTuber. Thank you so much, Gareth. I really appreciate that. Commuter fans, just keep doing these. I love it. And we'll do. Angela says, you mean Arabic. Was that what I was talking about? I don't know, I'm terrible. Here we go. We got one here from Matthew Liddick Higgerty. Awesome series, dude. I love it, and I like to share a spooky story on it. I live in an old west town in Arizona, and a creepy story I've got is there was an old story where I live across the street from an old morgue. And one night a few years ago, knowing the stories of a young girl getting run over on the sidewalk way before I was born, there was a very bright silver light in my room window, and I knew the stories. So at first I ignored it and rolled over, but it didn't go away. And after a bit I heard a humming and peeked out the window, and all I saw was a super bright silver light that moved across the street at chest height. Oh dear. Okay. FreeMz, we need more. I like paranormal things, like things. I think you meant like this, but yeah, cheers, Connor. Lewis, Jack, nice story, FreeMz, keep them coming, love the series, thank you so much. Let me have a quick scan through this one, it's a long one. Yeah, this one will do. Cool video, FreeMz, love the creepiness. I've got a true story that actually happened to me and a friend. A few years ago, me and my friend slept in a tent in his back garden. His garden backs onto a dark alley. His fence had a hole which was recently boarded up. The tent was in the middle of the garden. In the night, we were led on our led on our sleeping bags? Does that mean like leaned? I mean, for leaned, I guess so. I leaned on our sleeping bags talking, and suddenly we hear scratches right outside our tent. And we look at each other. We get up and run outside, only to see nothing. So went back inside. We later fell asleep and woke up again to the same noise. But this time we searched around the garden to find what was making the noise. When we were searching, we heard something coming from the alleyway. My friend pointed the torch at the hole in the fence to see that it had been broken, and standing there was a shadowy figure. We both looked at each other and ran inside the house. But the strange thing was, in the morning we look outside and the hole in the fence was boarded up again. I mean, the planks were in the exact position they were in when it was boarded. It was fucking freaky. We have never spoken of that night to anyone, and we have never slept in a tent since. Well, I've just told loads of people, so yeah. Okay, someone's saying that I wish it was real. Obviously you don't believe in the previous story. Either that or you mean you believe it. I don't know. One of the two. Okay, we've got another one here from Gerald Lumley. I love the vids, FreeMz, can't wait for some more funny moments, man, but when I was little, I don't know what was wrong with me, but I could not stop having bad dreams. And my mum got me a dream catcher and everything, but I was still having these bad dreams, like a paedophile coming in and trying to get me. Oh, that's terrible, I feel therapy. And my stuffed animals and shit, having it out for me, murderers and stuff, well, that's not good. And I seriously think that house was haunted. I'm a little skeptical, but I still dream about that house today. I don't know why. Anyway, I also had weird experiences in that house. One day when I was alone in the living room, the computer chair started rocking, and I went over to stop it and the curtains rustled, and I got scared and ran into my parents' bedroom. I don't know if it was the AC, but no windows were open. And one night my mom told me she heard screaming and running down the hallway, and I told her it wasn't me because I slept straight through, and she brushed it off, but I never forgot. Dad also kept hearing kids jumping over the fences and kept searching outside for them, but I think it was something else. I don't live in that house anymore, but I feel like I miss it when I'm scared shitless of it. Okay, we've got another one here from Doverkin. How many more have I got left here? I think we're coming close to the end. Yeah, I've read a lot of comments, but I'm happy to do it anyway. Doverkin. Okay, when I was little, like 2 or 3, I used to see a Reaper all the time. But it wasn't bad. In truth, it helped me a lot. When I asked its name, it said death, just death, which now scares the living fuck out of me. He taught me a lot about the paranormal. This may not seem true, since I would have been only 2 at the time, but I've always just known stuff about ghosts, and this is the only way to explain it. So I still see him sometimes, but not very often. He looks like Death in Darksiders, but that's only because that's how I imagine that Death would look like, I guess. That's another thing he told me, that a lot of people imagine ghosts looking similar, only because we've previously been told that's what one looks like. The true appearance of ghosts is a bit more like a pure light. No real form, no mist, just light. But we don't see them. That's why we don't see them that way, because we don't imagine them looking like that. We imagine them having shape and form, since that's just what we're used to seeing. So yeah, I'm weird, I know, but I know more about the paranormal really than I should. Also, IFreeMz, keep these coming. Really like them. Thanks for the support there, Dovekin. Thanks for the story as well. Cool story, bro. Mr. Barker, 1969. Alright, I've had some weird shit happen to me when I was 12. I'm 14 now. I lived in this flat, and we would always hear noises going up and down the stairs. Me being an atheist and not believing in ghosts and shit, so my mum calls a priest person that says who's in the house. I guess you mean to find out who's in the house? I remember him saying there was this old man and some other people, but he also said my nan was in the flat because of the ashes we had. Anyway, he told who was in there, who was in there, I suppose, and how many people died and shit. Well, it was a little late. It was my reading's terrible today. It was a late night, and I went to go for a piss. Got the feeling something was watching me. I turned around and saw nothing, but thinking nothing was there, continued my piss. Okay, thinking nothing was there, continuing my piss. I saw this shadow and get a really horrid fucking feeling, so disgusting, like every hair on my body was on alert. So scary anyway. After that, kept hearing the stairs creak and bang. What I learned is to never piss at night at that fucking flat. Terrifying shit there. Okay, this is cool. Mint but IFreeMz. What? Brandon, your comment cut off early, I think, but we got one from Terror Game here. I think did I read one from you a minute ago? I don't know. I'll read this one as well. I heard a story about a woman who's been constantly abused and raped by a demon only she could see. That's a film, I think. One day her son was round and she started getting attacked and was screaming for help, but her son couldn't see her or hear the demon. He tried to grab his mum to get her away, and the demon broke his arm. The demon then disappeared, and the woman always had bloodshot eyes and nightmares about the demon coming back, but never told her son, and she later decided to kill herself. Fuck. As far as I know, the demon was never described. Yeah, that's fucked up, man. Someone says there, this is obviously not a true story, unless you believe in the Teletubbies. But it's still... Oh, that you were linking me to a story. Oh, okay. Teletubbies theory. Alright, maybe if you want to look at that, go and have a look in the comment section. Jordan Steed is down the bottom somewhere. Very much enjoyed the 2 vids, by the way, IFreeMz. Keep them coming if you can. Thank you. Okay, we've got another one. We've got only a few left now, I think. Let me see. Yeah, we are coming towards the end. I had an experience with the paranormal once. It was when I was in the 9th grade. Also, I was fucking high as hell. But anyway, I swear to you, I saw a motherfucking ghost. And when I went from a good trip to... Okay, I went from a good trip to a very bad trip. I was at my friend's, and I've had experienced paranormal shit at his house before. When you're high as fuck, you see a motherfucking ghost. Oh, it'll take you a little more time to fall asleep. That's my story, but later that morning we just went and smoked some more weed. Yeah, fair enough. Sounds like an interesting morning. Thank you, Jacob. Okay. Someone's saying, Milan Dobos, this is interesting, but there must be a normal answer to all of these stories. I just can't believe in them. But it's cool. You telling us these. I want more. Yeah, well, you should have more. Okay. One time when I was at my cousin's house, I guess, I was 6 years old and we were playing soccer. I got lost and couldn't find my way back. So I looked in front of me and I see a little dark creature. It was hard to see because it was at night. So I run after the little creature and it stops, looks at me and jumps in the air. And then I look at my left and I found my cousin. It was a little weird, but that's what I saw. But I remember I was only 6 years old. Okay, and we've got a couple more comments at the end. Someone saying love it, Katsuri and kill 'em. These are always awesome to hear, thanks. So, there we go. If you guys want to discuss each other's stories, feel free. I'm happy to read them out. I know a lot of you get a kick off me reading out your stories, so I'm always happy to do that. I'm just going to go into the spam section and make sure there's nothing there that got... oh, hello. No way. Someone else has... okay, let me have a look at this. Okay, we're going to have a little read of this comment. Someone says that they are the caretaker of the Dybbuk box. That's kind of creepy. I don't know if it's true. We'll have a look. We'll read the comment. I've read everyone else's. That was in the spam section, I guess. I think he's put a link in his comment. So we'll get down there and have a read. I've got to load up all the comments again. Where is it? It better be at the top, because otherwise I'm going to have to scroll through everything and chat to you guys while I find this. God damn it, YouTube. Why'd you do this to me? Let me refresh the page here, and we'll try and find it. Hopefully there's gameplay for fucking days anyway. I've got Left 4 Dead gameplay for days, mate. Is it here? It might have been under here somewhere. No. Should have just read it from the spam section and then approved it. Jesus. It's fucking annoying. Here we go. Jason Haxton. Hello, friends. I am the caretaker of the real Dybbuk box, and you did a great job telling the story. Thank you. That's really nice of you. And I'd be freaked the fuck out if you were looking after that box. Here are 2 updates on other shows. On Discovery in January, Destination America, True Supernatural show on the Dybbuk box, and later on the Monsters and Mysteries in America series 4th episode. Oh, cool. I also talked to Hollywood execs, and the sequel script for The Possession, the real story of the Dybbuk box, is done so that the movie will be started soon. Okay. By the way, very nice accent, Australian. No, I'm from the UK. I'm an English guy. For more information, go to the website dybbukbox.com, and that's right, you can see the box in the arc. Click lower button, open box. That has it sealed and additional research. Also, you can email me if you have any questions, dybbukbox@jhotmail.com. Cheers, Jason. That's really freaky. So I thought the guy got rid of it or something, but I know that they said they sealed it, right? They sealed it again. I don't know. I think that's what I heard at the end. They managed to seal it away again using some technique. I have no idea what it is or anything, but that's cool. Yeah. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you, Jason, for messaging me. It's really cool of you. And to everyone else as well, thank you all so much for the support with this series. I really, really appreciate it. I know you guys love it. Sorry I've been away for a while. Yeah, I moved house and stuff and had holidays. Also, some of you will know I got locked out of my channel recently for 3 weeks, which really set me back. So annoying. But everything's back to normal now. I have a setup video coming soon. And more face cam stuff is on the way, I promise. Not all the time, though. I don't want people bitching at me if I'm not doing face cams with series. More than likely, yeah, I'd say I'm going to be doing it with horror series from now on, but don't hate me if I don't do facecam videos, because I don't always do them. Much love for the support. Love you all loads as usual. Share this video if you can with all your friends and your family and your nan and your dog. I'd really appreciate that. Have a great day, everyone, and until next time, take it easy.